My love will not change.
How we create an Instagram video. All right, we'll take a peek here on MusicBed, and this is where I find most of my music. And I have a couple favorites picked out. So we will let's see if there's anything new. And you can just go to sort by recently added. I like to know if there's anything that's just like mind-blowing that has just come out. So right here, Lady Bree is incredible female vocalist. So let's take a listen to this.
Through lightning and the thunder, the rain poured down, and the floods got high. The hurricane was blowing, and the sky turned black. We were searching for a lifeline. Like a bulldozer, it came crumbling down. Our house in flames as we watched it burn down. It's all gone, but we'll make it. We're in for nasty weather, but we'll ride through this together. This storm won't last forever. We're in for nasty weather.
Pause that song real quick. I actually like the instrumental a lot, but you can hear the lyrics are like, we've been through a lot, we're in for nasty weather. I don't know if I'm feeling that. I don't know if I'm feeling that symbolism for a wedding film. So we're going to go find the instrumental version of this, The Other Side. And here it is. Let's play this and listen to it. It's cool. Oh yeah. For sure. Cool. So you could do another part of somebody speaking here, obviously. Some toast or something. Or you don't have to. You can cut this whole part out. little emotional string coming in. You can hear that. This would be a good time to hear no words, but big piano. Big piano. We'd love to see a piano being played here. Big dance montage, for sure. A lot of lights. Insanity. No spoken words. Visuals. Grand. Bum 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 bum. So now we're in a lull. This is where you could put like a ton of emotional words right here. Right here, it's going to start to build. We want the impact of those words to increase as we build here. Slow the words down. Hook right here. Now. Bum, 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 bum. Holy moly. That was bananas. I didn't expect... I mean, I hadn't pulled that song up until just now. So that was cool. And I don't know, I can't think of a time I've ever just sat down and, like, the first song I played, thank you, Lady Bree, that felt divine. Because the first one I played, I was like, you know, I could hear it, but the words were not fitting. If you look over at the waveform, I like to look at the big one in the bottom. This is the song that we just listened to right here. And I'm making sure it's the instrumental version. And if you, sorry, we want to highlight that. There we go. So now it's black. We can see that waveform, and that's really helpful. So as the song's playing, I'm asking myself, would I want to hear somebody speaking right now? Would I want to hear, you know, ambient sound effects? What would make this opening as impactful as possible? And I mean the totality of impact. So the visuals or lack thereof, the audio or lack thereof, and inside of audio, I mean sound effects to like set the ambiance of where we are. And every second that goes by is an opportunity to either hook a listener and gain their curiosity, or to miss that, and they'll go the rest of the film requiring you to prove yourself to their attention. But if in the very beginning it's not in your face but just curious, that's the way I think about like the start of an Instagram piece. You could make the best social media film you've ever made or could ever hope to make, and you're not going to capture your whole audience. But if you want to convey your message, it's important to do something in the very beginning of that film that is done because you respect the attention span of the viewer, and also understanding that you are in a feed of, it's a hamster wheel, cyclical attention sine wave. So we know we love that song. That's like, it's a drop dead. Capital L love that song. Once I acquire that song, I can go bring it into the editor, and when I do that, I'm going to take a closer look at those peaks and valleys from the peaks and troughs. I'm not using the right audio lingo for that, but that's how I envision them in my head, is peaks and and valleys of audio in that waveform, and I'm just gonna see whether it makes sense to continue committing to the song, or if something else steals my attention, I could be okay with that. Now we're in the actual multicam setups. I've been working on the ceremony a little bit just to get all the tracks synced up, and I'll show you how I do that. So you can kind of disregard this for right now if it doesn't make sense to you, and if it does, cool. Do we want this to be a vertically formatted or horizontally formatted wedding film? Right now, I don't know, but it's important to know you can change that. And I think before I think you could actually decide that at any point. I think it's helpful before making selections of your content. It's helpful to know, because something I might say yes to in the selecting my clips, I might say yes to something if I know I'm delivering vertically, because vertically it's an incredible shot, but it becomes a different shot if you are delivering horizontally, because the eyes are picking up different parts of the frame, and the meaning of what they're seeing changes whether they're looking at something vertically or horizontally. So here in the editor, I've got my song, and there it is. So there's the waveform. We can see all the peaks and troughs we were looking at earlier. In the song, you see these, we've got our sort of more building moments. Right here is a place where the song kind of ramps up. Here, we'll go in a little bit. So you can see the song sort of ramps up here, and then it's sort of at a plateau, and then it has another little ramp up right here. I'm looking for those moments because I want to put impactful words. I want to put impactful words right before that moment, or sometimes the absence of words is helpful too. So the impact is going to be you want the impact of what the viewer is seeing to overlap with the music coming in. So you're they have a feeling, and then you hold them, you support them as a viewer, and you say, yes, that's what I'm showing you. Boom, here's some music to go along with that. So you're just serving these little moments to them. But if the timing is off, let's say you go for a big moment and it sort of falls flat. Well, that goes back to what we were saying about respecting the audience's time, So actually make my timeline backwards. So I find the endpoint first, and then I work around that. I build from the endpoint. In this case, let's see, I'm going to listen to these main build areas towards the end of the song to identify where I want to put the finale, and how I want to work the finale around what that music is doing. From there, I'll find some little pockets. Like in here would be a pocket. Right here, a place you could put words. In here is let's see. Maybe something quick, like somebody exclaiming something, like somebody shouting something into a microphone. If there was a funny thing said, I don't know. Here's another little. So this part of the song is actually a little bit too reserved for what I want to do. I'm probably going to get rid of most of the beginning of the song. Might start here, but I know I'm not even going to touch the beginning. I'm just listening for what the beginning is doing, what these parts are doing, so it's all kind of Here again. And that kind of just repeats itself. So, cool if you're making a longer film, but that probably won't be needed. Let's listen to the beginning again. Right there, we're going to mark that. Here's the challenge of choosing the song first, is being 12 seconds in for anything to ramp up and happen could be a long time. But at the same time, if I find something impactful enough to put right here, if I find something impactful enough, well, then it works. But I don't have any way of knowing that now because I haven't listened to all of the audio and made those selections. That's the danger of doing it backwards like this. As long as you know that, it's cool. But in my mind, I'm just going to make a note of like, don't completely throw out this part of the song just yet. I knew the beginning could go. I knew that was too slow to ever be in this piece. I think the end is going to be this last one, but I'm not sure. So let's take a listen here. Yeah, I think we just have to... I think it's too early to call where this needs to be cut. I know the beginning can go, but I don't feel comfortable saying yes entirely to that ending. Partly because it's so like cymbal jingly jangly. In a way, it sounds a little bit Christmassy, I think. So let's listen to the other build that might work. Good, but not good enough for an ending. I like that big piano part. This could be good for vows or something like that. I love that strings come in. I feel like we're about to see the bride. I don't love that. All right, here's where I am with this. I loved it at first when we listened to this. Clearly, I mean, my reaction was nuts. So where it stands is I don't want to be married to any particular cut yet, or even the song itself. So we're going to hang loose with this still in the timeline. We're just going to disable it. So it becomes like, anyway, it's disabled. Let's zoom out a little bit just to have a little more canvas here. And let's bring in a song that came to mind while I was... This song actually came to mind while I was filming this. Bride and Groom have a pretty cool story. And I think they grew closer... especially, they were already extremely close, but I think one thing that brought them even closer together was the untimely passing of the groom's mother. And it was said over the weekend that it became evident that their bond and the strength of their bond as a couple became evident to so many around them as the bride helped the groom as he went through the loss of his mother. So understanding how the room felt when those words were spoken is really important to me, because I standing there and watching how everything played out, how much a part of this wedding weekend the groom's mother it was and is, that's important to me when I'm thinking about the song. So I thought about this song because having been a fly on the wall for listening to the toasts that were given, it was the answer to everybody who knows this couple. It was obvious. Like it was them all along. And that might have become clearer at one point, but it was always obvious that they were them. So that's what we're gonna pull in. Here's the folk version. I'm gonna favorite that. We've got our songs in here now. Now we have our songs in. Anytime I bring in the possibility of another song, I like to kind of bring in the possibility of others. Sort of like once you open that door a little bit, I like to just allow that maybe I'm on the right track by if it feels right, I'm probably on the right track by letting more in just to see what happens. So this is more like the house version. So let's take a listen in the timeline, and I will go in on that. Just seeing what parts of the song are going to make the edit, if any. I don't know if I like that. Pop, 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 pop. I like that. What if we just started with that? I wanted a bigger takeoff there. Let's see if let's go into we'll go into the next part of the song and see if we can get a bigger takeoff. I like that. Is this the same thing here? Okay, so the other part is going to be the same, but cleaner. Let's actually start from there. Wow. I don't like that part. I don't like that. Okay. Right there is going to be a big moment. I know I love that. And then I love what follows, which is that. And I love that there's no, you know, you can hear that here. It just feels a little bit too clinical. I don't love that. But the ending might work too. So here we can bring in some of the tail of the song. This is how this is how I merge songs. So I'm just seeing if basically the two of these fit together. Like if the tail of this will fit on the body here, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm gonna squish this together, and then see if I can get in here and kind of nicely match that little waveform. So that doesn't line up, but you could find a part when this. So right there is where ideally we want to cut to here. See if that works. All right. Let's see if we can do a little J. Oh, that works. Okay, so actually you just have to hear that note finish off, and then it's less abrupt. So let's try that again. So basically now I'm just playing around at this point. I don't know if there's any of this is gonna I don't even know if this song is gonna be what I'm gonna use. But this is the process. I love that, like, and it falls off. Let's see if we make that fall off a little bit more interesting. This is how, see, we're just tinkering and having fun. Well, I am at least. Oh, okay. Cool. Let's make it better. Let's make the transition a little more interesting, like I just said. I want to hear them say, "Isn't it obvious?" right away, because that makes it, like I said about holding their emotions as a viewer and saying, "Yes, that's what I'm saying to you. I'm making you feel this." They're going to be so heightened sensorily. Their senses are going to be so heightened from what they're seeing visually that they're ready for, when you transition, them hearing a voice, they'll hang on it. You still have it. So the voice is impactful. Isn't it obvious? Whew, now we've slowed. We've slowed to the next part of the song. If we slow to music abruptly, you're not gonna. They're gonna notice the change, and you're gonna give away the secret. So this is gonna be what we won't use right here. We're not gonna use this part. We're not gonna use this transition, but doing this transition was what led us to the next thing that I wouldn't have found had I not said, let's make this transition. Okay, and let's make this a little bit better. Okay, so that's how this is. I'm talking a lot with my hand today. That's how this is flowing. This is going to be the transition of this song, cutting it up, that I'm not going to use. Okay, so now we need to bring "Isn't It Obvious?" We need to bring that to where it currently switches songs. I'm just going to mark where the vocal comes in. I'm going to mark it by pressing M. Pardon me. So I know that this little wave notch here, that's where it starts. I'll confirm that by watching again. Right there is where that one goes. So if we match those two up, beautiful. Amazing. It works so well, you almost don't even have to. It works so well, you almost don't even have to duck this. I'm going to, but you almost don't have to. I do that because it's habit. I don't know. I don't know what it would be like in the delivery if it wasn't ducked like that. If that audio waveform didn't curl in. There's a word for that, but. Here, quick tip also on those little audio things. If you press Control and then left click that little notch right here that you get from pulling that in, if you Control click that, you can tell it what kind of curve you want that audio to fall off at. I usually use the convex, this kind. Sometimes it's helpful to use linear. It just depends on what you're doing. Let's listen to this one more time. See. That's so cool. Here we might want to see. So now I'm thinking about what kinds of things can go around that transition. What do we want to see? What could we be seeing? So to answer that question, I need to know what spoken words we have from the wedding weekend, that rehearsal dinner and wedding day. And there's a lot. There's a lot of great stuff. That's going to be the next part of this video. This is a good example of how if I set out to make a 1 hour, how to edit an Instagram in 1 hour, it wouldn't have this sort of natural flow of openness to it. It would be like, oh, I gotta go do more. But being able to say, hey, I'm gonna go take a break, I'm gonna have some water, hang out with my wife for a little bit, like that's for me, part of the creative process is like having these little discoveries and then being okay with step away for a second. And I'm recognizing now how important that is. And if I told myself, I don't know, not even that long ago, if I told myself 3 years ago how important that was, I wouldn't then believe what I'm saying now. So if when I say like schedule breaks, do it at your pace, yes, even if that means you're going to be late on delivery. And again, I'm not an attorney, but sometimes it's inevitable. I think you have to give the creative process space to do what you just saw here, which is let the film unfold for you. This is an example of how it's unfolding for me. I just sort of give it a nudge, and these little moments sort of happen to make it eventually what's going to be this beautiful, stunning piece of work that really you kind of just allow it. I feel like very little of what we're doing here is even like, yes, I know it's me, but also the less I try to be impressive or flashy or make it about me, which I'm no stranger to doing that. The less I make it about me, the better I think the content ends up being. Thanks a lot, Furnace. So on that note, so here's the whole screen. I want to make this a 59-second video, and the way I'm gonna do that, I came back and I was listening to this song, and I'll play it again just so you remember what it. No, see, it's too kind of like jingly and cheery, but like jingly in a Christmas way. It might be right for some other project, but not that part, not for this. So I was about to delete the whole thing, and then I listened to it again, specifically this. The big piano. So that's the part I liked most. That bum 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 bum, and that I was like, all right, that's cool. So what if we didn't say no to this, but we just let that sit for a second? I was also listening to this. This is the one I found that I liked. The ending of, or the middle. It's is it the ending? Whatever. This part. I love that. So then I realized the two of them sound like they're in the same key. I don't. There's a way to go check that in Music Bed, I think, but I just use my ear. You can, a couple different ways you can do that. But here's what I ended up finding. Whoops. Control S will split that up so you can. Do you hear? That's the same key. When those songs overlap. Command 4 will duck the audio for you. The little edge, those little curves in Command 4. Well, actually, that is a keyboard shortcut that I put in. I think I might be wrong. because these songs are in the same key. So I'm playing with this. I'm seeing what does it sound like if this is how the if this is how the first minute. Let's make a minute long little timeline here. There we go. And so if this is the first minute, what does that sound like? And again, without being committed to it, just letting it play through and seeing where it goes. And no transition. There's no transition built in. I'm just really want to see, like, with what I can fill in a minute, do these songs work together? Oh, shit. Shoot. That's cool. So that could be the beginning. So this could be a beginning from one song here. So this song, the part I like about this song, the second one, is that it starts right there. Oh, my, I can't really sing that right now, the way my throat is. So that part, we'll just see where that might fit in. That's kind of cool. And then we go right into the craziness. So low, like, kind of sounds sad. I love that. But let's now we know where the second song fits in, like how that might go. Let's play with the first part, because the first part sounds a little like a funeral. Maybe it'll work. That's the other thing. It might work with the audio I end up finding. So that's why you see me keeping some of these clips in their deactivated state. The reason I'm doing that is just to remind myself that that's a chunk I might want to use. But by deactivating it, I know that it's sort of on standby. So let's listen to this one more time. Great. That's even on beat too. It's cool. So again, we're going to now look for the options for the first part. We want more impact. We want some impact. I love that. I love that piano. Let's try to play with the piano then. So we just pulled that part out. And let me show you what I did there. I pushed Option and then just dragged this clip up and out and drop. So that's how you can quickly duplicate a clip in a timeline. And just because if you're just playing with little parts, it's a fast way to get around. All right. This was the part that was kind of boring. It's okay, but again, depending on the content we have. So I might use that if I've got some very strong, very emotional. I might use that if I've got a very strong opening where I don't want to overpower that opening with music. But if I want to bring in a more powerful opening, we might be able to try this. Bum, 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 boom, 3, 4. Actually, so let's do the same thing. Oh boy. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to push Option, drag, and that will drop a new one. So I'm deactivating these that we know work together. And I've brought in this new part for number 1, which is going to be, like I said, a little bit more impactful, maybe. It's more presence of a song. So I might use this version depending on how it ends up working out. And might be able to just back out of it too. We'll see. So let's listen to it again. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Boom, right there. So right here, you hear that? You hear that little symbol come up? So this is the beat. There. We'll delete that marker. This is the beat here. There. Where we want Isn't It Obvious? So let's solo this and that's our that's kind of cool. Wow. So what I like about this is the strings from the beginning. The strings from the beginning really abruptly fall off. So we would want it to go to about there. Cool. We still want to keep a little bit of this track to carry us through. And I'm allowing the strings of the first song to fall off gently. All right, I'm not sure if I like hearing this. Isn't it obvious? I don't know if I like hearing that soon. So let's see what happens if we move it just like a little bit to the right. I don't know if I like that even. I don't know if I like that better. We gotta have something there, but I don't think it's. This would be a good place for words right here. So this was pulled from the beginning of the song, right here. That's cool. That's super cool. Let's try it again. So right now I'm just listening for I'm imagining things being spoken in my head. Like, I'm imagining the fact that things are being spoken. I don't even know what the words would be. Great. That's a really cool way to transition between songs. So that's actually probably going to work. I am going to take this. Oh. Okay. Ooh. Boom. Ooh. Wow. Oh, that's cool. So I like that, but I also like maybe let's try it just falling off right there at the end for the second song. Oh yeah. There we go. Wow, that's cool. Oh wow. I think we might be in business here. So we're getting closer. I think I have the end. That's great. Now that I have an idea of how the music's going to be. Yeah. Now that I have an idea of how the music's going to be, the middle can kind of float. We know that the middle is going to have this. Oh, look at that. So let me just explain what I just did. Well, even I can't remember. So this ending, all right. So this ending feels a little bit too long. It's taking like a long time to. I don't know. That's 10 seconds. I think I'm losing it. I'm losing it there. I love the piano, but. Huh. I'm even having a hard time seeing where this is going. So I'm just gonna hang on. You watch too, because I can't explain it with my words right now. Oh, shit. Oh, snap. All right. Wow. Whew. I had to take a breath. So I'm feeling some serious inspiration just from that popping out of nowhere. Great. So now I'm confident in this. This is that's pretty good. And because I'm confident, I can get rid of the I felt like I can get rid of these standby clips because I they're not going to be better than what I'm feeling on this one. So I'm going to get rid of those standby clips. This I can get rid of. Hang on. Let me see what that did again. What is this? That's that whiz bop. Okay, here's a symbol. Let's see if that works over here. Ooh. Oh, I love that. That's great. Hang on. So the reason I love this is because it hides the transition a little bit. We're going to solo that and just listen to it. Okay, hang on. Let's make sure it's clean. That is very clean. I've got to go get my children from school. So we will be back. We will be back. All right, so I know what everything is here. I know what is the beginning. I like that louder piano. We can adjust the volume of that clip if we need to. Right now it's at -3, so we have we can work with that depending on what we find as far as words go, but it's also fine to just let it can live on its own. up at minus 3 dB if needed, because it's powerful. So I like the versatility of that. For ease of describing these parts, let's make this beginning part 1. Let's make this transition part 2. The middle is part 3, and the end is part 4. And I'm going to refer to those sections as those numbers. So for part 1, this last little piano note, I want to drag that out a little bit longer, and so maybe I can just slow down, Shift B. That might work. Let's see. Okay, that's kind of cool, but it sort of it gives, I think, a little bit of suspense. So I love this. And then it's supported by part number 2. The transition is supported. We want that transition to make a statement. I want that transition to sell the impact of whatever I'm trying to say. Let's see if... Here's a big moment. Maybe we see the bride walking here and hearing something special. Because I feel like this ramp up of number 3 should be like dance floor and say, I want to see the hora. Yeah, I think here we could see the hora. The hora would be right when that kicks up. Yeah. So we'll reserve that spot for that. In fact, yeah. So we'll name this. That's where the hora goes. Cool. So that should be 3 seconds. That's perfect. The first shot will be 3 seconds, and then we'll sort of go on the beat, maybe. Yeah. This one's a new one. That's going to be really cool. So this is kind of how I do it. I mean, I get the bones, how I want it to feel. And now that I have it, this is going to be pretty plug and play. I like to look at it taking up the whole screen, and you can press Shift Z to make that happen. Just as like a top-down view. And looking at it this way helps me see I don't really need a ton of footage to make this a great video. Sometimes there's the idea that you have to show the whole wedding day, and you know, honestly, I could show just a couple of scenes, and it would be impactful. Sometimes even less is more. So we'll see what we come up with after we sync the multicams. So let's go to do that. I'm going to sign off here real quick while I sync the ceremony multicam and then the toast multicam, and that will let me listen through and pick anything that seems impactful. And really, there's not a lot of room for much storytelling from like a toast's perspective or from a vows. Just because it's a shorter, what is this, 45 seconds? Yeah, it's about 45 seconds. So you might have room for like establishing something, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's play with it. I'm gonna go make those multicams, and I will come back in a bit. Wish me luck.
Isn't it obvious? You are right in front of me with the answer. With the answer.
All right, welcome back. This is kind of exciting. We've before I just turned this on, I was sitting and looking at sort of the progress that I've made here, and I was like, oh, I could keep going and building this, and I was like, no, you got to go turn on the camera, because what happened was really cool. So if you remember, I was saying, not sure if I'm going to use words in this because it's a short format, and then I wasn't. I was pretty sure about the length. I thought it was going to be like 46 seconds and just visually, you know. But then, as you can see, down here where my mouse is, we found a little bit of magic. It's pretty cool. So I'm keeping the same structure, but I'm going to just have this piece that the father of the bride says about the movie Father of the Bride. And luckily, if you look here, I had made room right sort of during and right on the transition from audio part 1 to audio part 2, and there's just room to break those out. If there's somebody speaking, that was the part where I was saying, you know, I wasn't sure how we were going to fill that space right here in number 2, because it felt a little slow. But if we had a good enough, an impactful enough verbiage, it would have worked. And I think that's what ended up happening. Well, that is what ended up happening. So 2, it's sometimes helpful to leave yourself. If you look down here in the editor, and I'll zoom in a little bit, it's helpful to leave yourself these little, like I called them breadcrumbs earlier, these little editing breadcrumbs. Because as you do that, it shows you that you can expand or contract that little part by just peeling little parts of the song. So if you look here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 clips that are, well, here 3 are playing simultaneously. So why don't we just play this, and I'll just catch you up on where I've taken this. You can see this is, some of this might look familiar. Here's the 1 minute, kind of. This is 1 minute. This timeline. And then over here are clips that I think might be useful, and I just plop those to the right in a timeline. There's no real rationale for their length right now. It's just they have things that I found interesting, so they might go in. But I've also favorited clips that anything here I have favorited them in the event viewer. You can tell that by like the green line shows that. So if I drop a clip over here, I also have it favorited, and what that lets me do is I can play with these knowing that I have them kind of breadcrumbed up here. I've like dog-eared these pieces just for safety, so I don't have to keep going back and looking. That's another way that I leave myself an out. I think that's worth mentioning, that like when you're on the highway and a truck in front of you kicks up a rock and it hits your windshield, how that crack spiders out. Sometimes I think that we're always, as editors, we're going on we're doing one of those little journeys, following one of those little cracks. Usually, if you're extra unlucky, a bunch of cracks will form and it'll sort of spider. I think it's important to not get too far down one particular crack. And if I'm not feeling it, I want the ability to go back to the center where the rock impacted, and then go out on another crack, and still be able to connect to the initial crack that I was on. And then eventually what happens is you exist creatively on sort of all of those spider web crack limbs, and you can access the things that you liked about each one. But if you can't get back to the impact point, if you can't work your way back to figure that out, that can be kind of limiting. I've been there. I mean, a reason why I would maybe not be able to make it back to the center is for time. Like if goes back to giving yourself time to create. If I'm feeling pressured by any external force, whether it's the client or family obligations or financial things, I'm not going to be able to transition within that spider web as I would like to, as I know I can. So that's a good reason for understanding your creative process and advocating for what you need. Even if it's a little bit scary and you have to say to somebody, hey, this is taking a little bit longer than I thought, but it's taking how long it needs to take. That is a thing that any creator does. And again, as I say that, I can hear myself saying it, and I know, in another world, I might respond to that by saying like, oh, how convenient, he just takes his time. Well, that's the way this happens. A lot of our clients are, they're attorneys, or they're in finance, and they're tied to deadlines that are like, the financial markets open at a certain time and they close at a certain time. And so that person who might respond in that way to me possibly has a more rigid sense of what their day-to-day looks like. And it makes sense for them to know that, at 3 p.m. they have no more opportunity to make money. Or, an attorney, the deadline to turn in discovery is this moment and you can't go beyond that, or it costs you your career. It could. And in this case, with what I'm doing, it's kind of the opposite. I don't expect somebody to understand that isn't a creator or, or an artist. But the more you hold to that rigidity of this is how it has to be and when it has to be done by, when you hang on to that rigidity, it limits your ability to sort of trapeze within that spider web. Or mine. That's how my experience is. I would love to hear what your spider web looks like. If you have one, or if you disagree with what I'm saying, I'd love to hear that too. I'd love to hear if there's another way to think about that, the breadcrumbs. Let's listen to it, shall we?
So this might be a little hard. So Annie, the year was 1991. Father of the bride. And there's a scene in the movie where Steve Martin, George, is in bed. And I believe it's the night before Annie's wedding. And all he's doing is he's going back in his mind, wondering where the years went.
Plug my headphones back in. So that is that's pretty cool, huh? Let's see. Let me make sure that that's how I want the audio to be, and I don't want Dad to say anything else here. Hang on. He's saying, I just can't figure it out. Let's see if that could go here. So I'm basically listening to the other things he says after that to see if they add to. I'm going to give a breadcrumb here. I'm going to disable that clip, but leave it where it is in the timeline. So I'm seeing if anything that he says just in that vein of thinking in his toast. I'm trying to see if that adds to the impact of what we just heard him say. And if it doesn't, I'm just not going to use it. So here, where I've disabled, he says, I just can't figure it out. You know, because wondering where the time went. But I think that I don't know. The reason I don't think that fits is because it's a little, to use the theme of this, it's a little obvious. It's like, we don't need him to say that. We're going to, by virtue of the fact that he's using that movie as an example, it's, inherent in that is that he can't figure it out. That's why he's saying that in a room full of 200 people. So sometimes I think in that example, that's an example where sometimes going the obvious route and adding more it actually can detract from the impact of what you're creating. So I'm actually going to delete that. No more breadcrumb there. And then, so just noticing what just happened, I left a breadcrumb, and then I felt strongly enough that it wasn't going to be needed. And I don't want to clutter up my timeline. So there's even criteria for what can be a breadcrumb. And if I have an articulable reason why it will or will not work, then it'll say or it'll go. Okay, moving on. So he talks about how he tried to, it's beautiful words from the father, but I don't, I'm not going to bring it in here. So we're good with the audio. That's great. Now we play with the visuals. So I think let's listen to the beginning part and see what we want the beginning to be. Okay, so he says the year was 1991. I think we want to see the room. Do we want to see the room? We might want to see their little dance intro here, right here. Yeah. That's great. So now we just keep playing and playing. We want to have the more. If you look at the timeline, there's really not a lot. We've got some placeholders in the audio part number 3. You'll remember that's the middle part right here. The build, the crazy high energy. So that's where we'll see all of the, hands up, go on the dance floor. But we also have some beautiful shots of the bride putting her shoes on. Oh, the father of the dad first look. Maybe that could go where the silent drop happens. Right here. Because we can keep that, we can drag that out. Look here. That's a great breadcrumb. I'm glad I left that. Watch. That can be that, or it can be that. Let's look at the dad first look right now. Because his reaction was amazing. All right, we got to. So basically, here's a tag, a keyword in the event viewer. Let me open this all. Okay, so I picked out when I was doing my selects when the camera was off. Ooh, I'm getting excited. My body's. It's like electric. It's electric. So we need you see the dad's wearing a mic here, and I could have probably hidden that a little bit better, but whatever. Let's go listen for where the dad first look is here, and I've keyworded the DR10, which is the audio device that I use. And let's go listen for the dad first look and see what he says. And I have a feeling I remember what it was. So dad says, "Oh my God." That's great. So we're going to put this clip. Well, I'll favorite that, and then we're going to put it in the dad first look. Little event. And now we will. Let's multicam those together. Just make those. Let's see here. Here we go. So here's the first look. Multicam, but that, if you look over here on the left, upper left, that kicks the multicam that we just created out to the main, to the main area. But we want that to be along with the clips from the dad first look. So dad first look. Now it's keyworded. So anytime we don't have to sift through the entire event viewer, or come up here to hit search and then type it in. We just go over here to that keyword, and here it is. And I'm going to favorite that, by the way. Let's go into the multicam to make sure it's synced up properly. Looks like it did. I always like to have my video on top, audio below. And let's listen. We know. So what is this? This is like 10 seconds. We're not going to even have room for nearly all of that. So that's great. We'll trim it down. And let's go back and see. Oh, I love how he tilts his head. Oh, I like that clip too. We're going to put that over here. So ordinarily, if this is what was in place of that. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Sometimes when when it feels really good. So that feels really good. I wasn't really good at baseball, like one bit, but I can imagine if you're a good hitter, you know when you've connected with that ball, and you know when it's going over the outfield wall. So this one, this one's going. I play golf. I same thing with golf when you know you hit a good shot. Yeah. But we want to see him, he goes from his eyes closed to eyes open. So let's break that out a little bit. Oh man. So I love, oh boy, I love this. I love this. I think we need to reconvene here. So I'm putting all these clips that were on top, putting all these clips over here because I was indifferent as to whether they actually stayed in the same place. And now, I don't know, just seems like things changed a little bit. So, and I just deleted that because I had copied it and moved it. So we know that everything I liked is now on the right-hand side. This is kind of how the process happens. You know, go out one crack of the spider window, you come back, go out, come back, and then eventually we're going to have what I think we both think is going to be a cool video. So I'm gonna say that we've got it. I think we've got it. The next time I talk with you, we'll be watching through the real thing. I'm gonna go put these clips, some other clips, but I know at this point all we have to do is put video on top of this, and we've got our video. So it's 10:10 in the morning, and I think, I don't know, let me see. This could take an hour, maybe an hour. I want to be really intentional about what we're showing. I also don't yet know if we're going to do vertical or horizontal. I do have some anamorphic clips that just don't, they're just not the same if you do it vertical. Which I know, so there's that classic, there's a classic engagement versus the way I want to show it. If I go for mobile phone engagement, maybe I'll do both. There's really no harm in doing both. You're adding a little bit of time to your workload, and it's probably worth it in this case because let's do that. All right, friends. Thank you for being here with me, and if you might not feel this way, but were a huge part of this happening because I felt like I was sitting with you and doing this, even though we're sort of remote. We're obviously not physically together, but I think that knowing that I was able to show how I do this made it just that much better. And we got some more to come for sure. So hit whatever you have to hit to subscribe, and that way when I make other videos about filming on the actual day or audio or all sorts of things. I'm planning on doing a drone video too. So if you liked this informal edit hangout, I think you'll like the other things too.
So this might be a little hard. So Annie, the year was 1991. father of the bride. And there's a scene in the movie where Steve Martin, George, is in bed, and I believe it's the night before Annie's wedding. And all he's doing is he's going back in his mind, wondering where the years went.
Oh my God.